what you should understand about this is that this would not be allowed to happen at a place where it didn't have to happen. There's no way that they would let us do this.
Ready.
Welcome to Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk, an aviation podcast by two air traffic controllers and rated pilots who love to talk about flying, controlling, and everything in between. The show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for your instructor, your supervisor, the FAA, the NTSB, or your CAT. The show will give you a better understanding of how things work in the National Airspace System and maybe even make you laugh along the way. Please welcome retired Army pilot Alpha Golf and first officer at Penguin Airlines, Romeo Hotel.
It's Wednesday, March 25th, 2026, episode 430. Before we get started this week, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the crash at LaGuardia a few nights ago. Our thoughts are with the two pilots who lost their lives, the passengers who were injured, the fire and rescue crews who responded, and the controller working the operation as it unfolded. We're not going to speculate or get into details, but it's on our minds, and we're thinking about everyone affected.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Now I can read the beginning of a normal show.
Okay.
On today's show, we'll talk about some cool ATC procedures in the mountains, reveal most controllers are psychic, and answer more of your aviation questions. What's up, AG?
Hello, everyone.
See how I shifted gears there? I went from
It was
serious
Yeah.
to let's have fun.
Yes.
This episode has to hold up forever.
We can't not have fun on this show.
Mm-hmm.
It happens every time.
Mm-hmm. How have you been?
My neck. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just woke up this morning. My neck hurts. I can't move my head, really.
My wife suggested a show segment several years ago called What's Broken on AG. And it can either be your body or your house.
Right. Right now we have the ants and the neck.
They infiltrated the kitchen?
They're just everywhere.
I
have the house treated too. I don't know. It's just that time of year.
Mm-hmm. They got in. They found something.
Yeah.
And then they told all their friends where all the food is.
It's the kids' fault. No doubt.
You got out on the rivers? You did some fishing?
I did. I had a real weekend. With all of the days off.
Excellent.
Yeah. I just, Sunday afternoon decided it's too nice to do chores and stuff. I'm going to the mountains. And so I went.
Mm-hmm. Did you catch anything?
I caught one trout, a rainbow, pretty good size.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a gorgeous day. Beautiful. There was a butterfly hatch. I've never seen so many.
What is a hatch?
They hatched. They all came out. They were all
okay.
alive and present at the same time.
Oh.
Hundreds of them. Yeah. I'm assuming they all just hatched. Yellow ones.
Okay.
Big yellow ones.
It sounds like you got the deserved couple of days off.
It was nice.
You have normal weekends coming up now, don't you? For a little while?
Yeah, for a little bit. I got that spring break I have off, and then have an overtime maybe the week after spring break. Or Yeah.
My schedule is up in the air, literally, in April. I am a line holder again, and we have a trip to the beach for spring break and a couple of trips that happen on Wednesday. So we're going to do a double today and probably next week as well. Mm-hmm. And we're going to knock out most of the month of April in the next couple of weeks. So anyway.
Excellent.
I'm back from another trip. I did a commute this week that was positive space. I bought a ticket. I took the advice of others, and said, you know what? It's not worth doing an Uber ride from Duke again. I'm just going to buy a ticket. That makes the ride home a little less stressful, and here's why. I had bought a ticket for a 3 p.m. two-leg through Washington. Okay. And I was set to get on the ground at just after noon, which is pretty early. But I'll have time. I'll be able to just take my time. I have a seat. I'm getting on this plane, which is usually filled with crew members. It's base to base. It's always full of deadheading crews. It goes from like 100 open seats to negative 50 in a minute. So this is I'm going to feel good getting on this plane. How many times have I been delayed coming out of London? I think twice. And that was one of them. Of course, the day I have a ticket, right?
Yeah.
There was a security issue. I'll leave it at that. It took several hours to solve said security issue. But I was able to rebook my ticket and get a direct that I avoided because that's the flight that I swear Penguin tries to cancel all the time. The one that goes directly to where I live because of me. It's all about me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I got a ticket on that. And then I got upgraded to first class. I was feeling pretty good. Got home. I was home for dinner time.
Wow.
Yeah. It pushed early. The plane wasn't broken or overweight.
Huh. Or overfueled.
Yeah. Which causes them to be over. Yeah. All the things work.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So then I went and got my car and drove home.
It's surprising how frequently that happens where, they say, hey, we're pushing back, but we need to go sit somewhere and burn gas. Because we're too heavy.
Yeah.
Seems like, maybe you could take that. I guess defueling the plane.
That is a process that costs a lot of time and money. And I think in some places the fuel is unusable again. So you're basically just putting it down the drain.
Oh, you might as well turn it into noise.
Right.
Yeah. Heat and noise.
Yeah. Right. And that's usually because they're still complying with their ramp weights, but they're above their takeoff weight maximum, which probably translates to something with their landing weight. So burn it now. But I've been on planes when they've had to do that. It's frustrating. But at least you're going.
So yesterday I worked in emergency. An airline regional departed Triad going to Metroplex.
Okay.
Departed northeast bound, turned northwest bound, and then cleared direct to a fix on the arrival in what amounted to be a downwind at 10,000 feet. In a very sort of startled voice, said, we're declaring an emergency. We're returning to the field. I said, okay. Clear to Triad, descend to maintain 3,000. Fly this heading.
Call Leon, take the handoff back.
Yeah, well, they already took it.
Okay.
Yeah, they had already taken it. They said, I'll try to flash it back, but
they did not. I'm sure they didn't. Because they'd have to amend the destination.
Yeah, this would be work to do. So
they're not going to do that.
No. But I just said, let me know what you need. I wasn't going to bug them. I can't stand it when we start playing 20 questions. They're right in the middle of this thing. It was a bleed air. What did he say?
Duct?
Leak?
Okay.
They were worried about the engine getting hot. Anyway, I waited. The next thing that happened is he came on frequency. Call sign, pan, 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 pan. I'm like, oh, we're escalating. This feels like we're escalating this a little bit.
It's actually a de-escalation, but...
Right. But it felt like...
Right.
Because now the urgency sounded even higher.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. Well, and I'm still waiting. I'm not hugging them. They did. They finally came back. They said, this many on board, this much fuel, this is what we're doing. I didn't have to extract it. I didn't have to bother them. I just vectored them back around. I moved everybody else out of the way. They landed.
Okay. Did you have to do anything crazy with vectors? Because I have a follow-up question too. I'm giving you all that information, but go ahead.
Nothing
They're super
crazy.
high.
They were very high.
Okay.
I think we just had an understanding that you're high. I can't slam dunk you. I don't think they were prepared for that anyway. They were pretty busy running a checklist because I took them plenty far out, probably 15-mile final. I immediately started them down to 3. I vectored a couple other planes out of the way. Where I felt like was a reasonable place to turn their base is when I turned. They still went through final because they just were busy, I think. The whole interaction was just sort of, you could tell they were distracted. But
fire trucks?
Yes, they requested them.
All right.
Yeah, they said we want the trucks. We want to make sure this engine doesn't catch on fire or whatever. So it was interesting.
Good job.
Yeah.
I love how you paused. I love how you didn't ask them anything and bug them. I love how they offered it all to you to basically cut you off from asking them.
Yep.
Had they not been at 10,000, I would have said, how long do you need? But it sounds like that time was bought with the descent. And you answered the question that way. You can't turn them at a normal, a triad typical base turn is, 8 to 12 mile final. Maybe 10 is a sweet spot, point the field out, all the things. You can't do that because they'd probably still be at 6,000 or 7,000 feet, and you would have essentially given them a space shuttle descent that they couldn't do, which would have compounded the problem. So good work.
Yeah, just let them do their thing.
All right. And everybody got on the ground safely? Everybody wins?
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we begin?
Let us begin.
All right. Since OB429, we have some new members on the Iceberg. Juliet Kilo, Charlie Tango, Bravo Foxtrot, Victor Papa, Bravo Hotel, and Tango Sierra. We got a PayPal drop from November Alpha. And on Patreon, Charlie Mike tripled their monthly pledge. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
If you've been enjoying the show, you can take it to the next level by joining our premium feed on Supercast. Supporters get every episode on time with no delays, our entire back catalog, depending on your tier, access to our live stream, bonus audio, and a direct line to us through our supporter-only email. You'll keep the show ad-free and community-supported. Learn more at opposingbases.supercast.com. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Review and announcement. I already see how I did the banners. Do you like how I summarized that one?
It's very good, yes. That's excellent.
Go.
All right. This review, titled Finally, a podcast that makes me feel less dumb and more informed. That is not a commentary on the content. It is just, if you just listen to these two guys long enough, you'll realize that you're not as dumb as some people and that you are more informed. at least two of us. 5 stars, naturally. AG and RH have done the impossible. They've made me realize that my hours in the NAS were basically just me confidently bumbling around like a toddler with a radio. I thought I had it all figured out. Turns out my IFR and private was just a learner's permit for the real education. Before opposing bases, I was flying alone. Now, I'm a fully engaged participant in this beautiful aerial ballet arena we call the National Airspace System. I went from, I talked to ATC to actually understanding what we're talking about and why. It's like going from karaoke to actually learning music theory. Suddenly, all the notes make sense. AG and RH have this magical ability to break down complex ATC procedures and airspace operations into digestible, hilarious morsels of wisdom. They've taught me that being a good pilot isn't just about flying the airplane. It's about being part of the team that keeps the whole system working smoothly. If your private pilot license was a license to learn, consider this podcast your graduate level curriculum taught by 2 professors who actually make you want to show up to class. Keep the insights coming, gentlemen. Or as my wife calls your professor, robot head, and Dr. Aviation Guru. You're making us all better pilots, one episode at a time, Blue Skies, and proper flight following requests. Emperor Captain Juliet Lima Sierra at the Northeast Cowboy Military Cemetery under the Coffee Bravo. That is a great review.
Please, someone nominate that for an OB. One day we will do the OBs for 25, but this one should be a nominee for the OB26 awards, please.
Yeah, put that in the file. This
Peter?
could sort of just be like the front page of our website.
We should play that as sort of like a promo on our website. You reading that review.
Oh, I would have read it better if I knew that. Let's do it again. Okay.
You read it perfectly. All right, announcements. Quick shout out to a listener that was at the same restaurant I was eating at. I was wearing an OB shirt this weekend, and a listener came up and said hello. And quick shout out to Andrew, who flies out of Duke. I said, I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences.
Like all the time?
Yeah, but it was nice meeting you.
Oh, man.
And yeah, number 2, Emperor Captain Whiskey Mike said, greetings, fellow. Whiskey Mike from the Presidential Non-Tower just west of Metroplex. I'm here to announce that I passed my commercial ride with legendary Golf Hotel today, who makes his living out of Antenna Airport. Obligatory photo attached, of course, wearing an OB shirt. Keep up the good work. I think that's the one that I put under number 3 there. I just think I just slid it into the wrong spot. You want number 3? Congratulations, Whiskey Mike.
Yeah, congrats. Number 3, Supercaster Juliet Lima is a commercial pilot.
Congrats.
Congratulations. Subscriber Juliet Lima checking in. After 46 years of navigating the skies as a private instrument-rated pilot, I decided 3 years into retirement that it was time to level up and get my commercial certificate, not for a new career, but simply to become the best stick and rudder pilot I could be. By the time I finally secured a date with a DPE, I had been hit with so many delays on the ground that my wife started looking at my open textbooks with genuine concern. Don't you know that stuff by now? She'd ask. You've been studying for 2 years. This past April, on a bumpy 95-degree day, I finally stepped up. The oral was a breeze, and I nailed the power off 180 like I've been doing them since the Eisenhower administration. Because maybe you have. I don't know. Mission accomplished. Commercial pilot.
Congrats.
Awesome. Juliet Lima, congrats. He also shared some very sad news.
Yeah, I just summarized it there. I didn't want to. Yeah, go ahead.
In his announcement. And while we were not sharing that with our audience, we do want to acknowledge the fellow aviators that he lost along the way. Tailwinds and blue skies to our lost brothers, Juliet Lima.
Yeah, congratulations. And that's awesome. I think after 46 years of flying to say, I'm going to do this other certificate, clearly you didn't need to do that. It was voluntary for your own progression. Good on you.
Sometimes a thing like that, I have found, is not always about these specific maneuvers or what you might get out of this rating, but it is about the little things you pick up along the way of this process. The other things that come into view through doing this new thing, the habits you might pick up, the little tips and things that maybe aren't directly related to this, but that you would not have been exposed to otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those can be super beneficial outside of the practical application of what do I do with this rating now?
Agreed. And with that many years of flying experience, you bring so much more to the table. You're teaching your instructor something for sure.
Oh,
you have stories and experiences that they haven't had yet.
Sure.
So you're bringing a lot to that rating.
Cool.
All right, moving on. Timely feedback.
Timely feedback.
I was laughing earlier when I did that video with the YouTuber last week, and we were coming back from London, and he said, "Hey, I listened to one of your shows. What do you do to edit and make that robot sound?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And then I just said, "What's up, PG?" And he says, "Oh, that's just how you sound."
I love it. Yep. No editing required.
Oh, you want number one?
Number one, which we moved from last week.
Yes.
From Supercaster Alpha Foxtrot. Hello, RH and AG. I have a quick question, and I hope the answer doesn't push another penguin off my melting iceberg. With the introduction of ADS-B out, why is it still necessary to rely on radar as a primary source of data? Do ADS-B and radar data complement each other to provide the information needed for ATC? Is there a plan for ADS-B data to become the main source of information in the future? Thank you for all the hard work you put into making the best aviation podcast. Keep it up. Alpha Foxtrot, just south of the Coffee Bravo. Okay. Yes, ADS-B and primary radar and secondary radar all fuse together. In addition, at least at our facility, with 2 long-range radars.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of sources. 3 that we have locally, well, ADS-B, primary, secondary, and then 2 long-range center radars.
Mm-hmm.
All fused together in a system that is called Fusion.
Fusion radar, the future.
Yes.
Came out right when Atari came out.
It did. But no. It works really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And our primary radar went out last week for a couple of days. The only real impact was with non-ADS-B aircraft at lower altitudes.
Okay.
Until the center radars could pick them up. Once they would get 4,000 or 5,000 feet, it would become less of a problem.
Okay.
But almost everything else worked without. You would barely have known the radar stopped spinning.
So no ISRs, an increased separation requirement, no system monitoring that says this signal's a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, only with non-ADS-B.
Wow.
Planes.
Okay. Now, I know we weren't allowed to touch this button, but controllers touch buttons we're not supposed to touch all the time. Let's just say hypothetically you've done this, maybe on the scope on the other side of the room. Okay. What happens if you just went to ADS-B as the sole only source and shut everything off? Would ISR come up? Because if it doesn't...
Yes, it does.
It does. Okay.
I believe so. Because with our radar off, aircraft that were 30 miles from the airport at 2,000, climbing, let's say, off of steamer.
Okay.
They were ISR'd. I take that back. Aircraft off a triad, low, non-ADS-B, had ISR, which means now we have to go to 5 miles of separation, which isn't the end of the world. But if they had ADS-B, nothing.
Okay.
No. So maybe it is ADS-B only because you're not getting picked up by the center radar yet that low.
No.
Isn't ISR.
In other words,
I would have to look at it again. I think we could go experiment with that on the scope in the back.
Because if it doesn't, and I believe, and I can't quote the regs, I'm not going to try, but it is an approved source of data. I think without primary, secondary, or long-range radar supplements.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So could you have 2 ADS-B, like sole source ADS-B data aircraft 3 miles apart, co-altitude?
I think the regs allow that, but it's not written in a way that says, all right, shut off all of those other
Yeah, on purpose.
fusion sources.
Yeah.
Because if it can, at least over non-oceanic, where we have ADS-B ground antennas, they're all over the place. I don't know how many are in triad airspace, but there's a lot. They're picking up signals all over the place and somehow feeding it back into the system that I should know how it's getting back to us. I'm not sure if it has to go through space or not, come back down, but if it's giving us valid, useful, accurate position, why do we need the spinning antenna? And in your case, it went out. Mm-hmm. Now, it had other sources at the time, but if it was the only one, that could change everything if that was how you ran traffic with only ADS-B.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of old school. I like to have, a local independent source that can be, I don't know, that isn't susceptible to being shut off or jammed or,
Oh, yeah. I'm not, okay, maybe I'm got a little excited there. I'm not suggesting get rid of it.
Yeah.
But in cases like yours, it worked. And was it working and not giving ISR because there was long range to help it out? It sounds like maybe.
I don't,
question mark.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
But the ones that had ADS-B were working fine.
Yes.
And in other words, that fused ball, that blue target on the screen, it doesn't tell the controller what it's composed of. We just accept it. This is where this plane is. This is what the computer says because it's pulling in all of this data. And it says, with very high accuracy, this is exactly where this airplane is over planet Earth.
Yes. So we had a P8 come in during that period of time to do pattern work. When they came in, their ADS-B was off. And it wasn't really noticed until they were in the tower pattern and their tag was jumping around. It would jump like a mile.
Because no primary. But this is the day you had no primary.
Right. Okay. And they had no ADS-B.
How did the jumping make you feel?
Yeah, really bad. And so when that started happening, we said, hey, are you guys ADS-B capable? They said, yeah. I said, well, I don't think it's on. Can you like recycle it? Or I'm like, oh yeah, we'll check it. And they turned it, I guess they then turned it on and no problems after that.
Excellent.
But it definitely was a problem before.
Okay.
And when you have a tag jumping around like a mile at a time, your confidence in exactly where, like you're saying, I can be confident that I know where this dot is, that it is where it says it is, that starts to diminish very quickly.
Instantly for me.
Yeah.
If I saw it jump a mile once, I'm done.
No, I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting reports from you. Tell us exactly where you are. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I think we answered that. Maybe we
Is there a plan for it to become the main source? I don't think so. Maybe. But I don't think that's been made public.
Over the ocean, ADS-C, the satellite ADS-B readers. Somebody can see us the whole time. There's apps on the internet that can see us the whole time.
Right.
And we play this non-radar game. We go on tracks. We're all spaced out by time. They will not let you use visual separation to climb through somebody else that you can see 20 miles ahead of you. They won't let you do that. They treat us entirely non-radar out there. If they could make it where ADS-C was valid for us, like I'm telling you, this is exactly where I'm at. It would change the crossing the ocean game. Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Huh. Yeah.
I feel like you have to get number 2 also.
I do?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's about you.
My agent will be in touch. Number 2, Supercaster and Go Papa. Email subject line, Happy National Survey Day. Oh, my word. Here we go. Hello, RH&AG. Just listen to the live broadcast of 428. Oh, my word. And I'm the survey pilot at 62, not 65 or 6, only 62. I'm from just outside the Mormon Bravo west of the Rockies and have been weathered out at the closed Krispy Kreme Delta for the last 4 weeks. I appreciated being able to listen to your banter on frequency. I guess I'm a real NAS user now, looking forward to more entertaining episodes. Oh, man. You being as supportive of the show does not change what I said. It is. Because, and maybe you were out yesterday too, because we had 2 out at 6-ish going north-south. And when we're on the 5s, I cannot tell you how much of especially the way you were spaced out. You're doing these north-south lines. They're probably 10 or 15 miles apart. And so the arrivals from the northwest, I have to stop at 7 until I know that they're passing you or can get ahead or behind you before I descend them. If they get stuck at 7 and your counterpart is anywhere near there, I really need to be dropping them down after they pass the first one. But now I got this other guy at 6. And everybody's thinking, they're just VFR. Why does it matter? Well, because if I'm busy like it was yesterday, I don't have time to sit there and watch and vector. And anytime you take one of these surveys off their line, now they've got to do a big 360 to get back established, get everything set up before they start recording again. And it just becomes an extra thing now that you're adding into the problem. And I get it. You've got your job to do, but it is a strain. It really is. And I know you could be out there on a 1200 code, not talking to anybody. You're not in any sort of airspace. But you choose to get flight following, which is helpful. It is helpful. It isn't that it's the flight following part. It's not the talking to you. It is the missing you with planes all day, descending with a tailwind, having a hard time getting down as it is. And now when I have to stop them at 7, it just becomes, it's definitely a thing. It was great for my trainee yesterday to have to work around that constantly all day long. It's easy to forget when you have this guy just back and forth and sort of kind of forget that he's there when he's going to make a turn. It really forced him to be on his toes, so much so, and he did well enough that I said, I'm done training this guy. He's recommended.
Excellent.
Sign him off. Yeah.
All it took was a few survey pilots in the way, the whole session.
Yep, all day.
Now they'll be asking for them to come out. Cool. Thank you, Tango Papa.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for sending that.
Fancy jet music. All right. All right. This week's show topic, I have lightly penciled in a show topic, a show title, The Aspen Wrap and Westbound Cutoff Maneuvers.
Nice.
From Supercat, Third Lima Delta, hello AG and RH. I'm sending in possibly the least timely feedback along with some questions in binging the back catalog of OB Gold. I recently listened to episode 161. The episode was one in a series about obstacle departures, and there was feedback about what I called the best rich people mountain airport. Well, AG saw the fix MOORN and decided that it was pronounced moron. But as you can see in this picture from a few days ago, this fix is named after the maroon bells, not the moron bells. Yeah, AG, what a moron you are.
Hold on a minute. Who took this photo? Is this from?
This is not the picture that they said they put in the email. It wasn't attached. I stole this shamelessly off the internet, and it's amazing. You got to put it on the screen so they see this.
Okay.
Maroon for the color and not moron for the people who try to drive their cars up the bus-only road to see said bells.
Right.
All right. Now to my actual questions. While I grew up up near Rich People Airport, I have done most of my training and flying from the first mile is free for your non-existent spaceplane airport under the Blue Lucifer Bravo. I have flown into and out of Rich People Airport a few times now, and I think that is one of the most fun and interesting approaches and environments for general aviation pilots to fly. For those unfamiliar, this airport is essentially placed in a box canyon. If you scroll down, there's a couple more pictures there that you might be able to pull up. And for the majority of operations, it's one way in and one way out. That we're going to talk about that. There's probably a picture below those. There you go. I'm looking west-ish into this airport towards the final of 1-5. Yeah, we're up in the upper right of that picture if we're looking down. So, anyway, this airport is mountainous. It's in between lots of higher places in the mountains, and you're calling it fun for general aviation. I would probably rank this as one of the more stressful places if I had to fly there in an airplane that wasn't equipped to fly that high, but we'll get into that in a minute. It's in a box canyon. A majority of operations is one way in and one way out. Landing 1-5, which is in the direction of that picture on the left, and departing the other way, back where you came from, departing on 3-3. This
is 1-5 right here.
Yes, and that's exactly. You're like, that's the better solution. Yes.
Hold on a minute. Okay. Yeah, I'm totally backwards. So you're telling me
it's that one right there. Yep. You're looking up from where? See where the ridge is up in that picture you're on?
I'm looking from over here.
No, you're looking from to the right.
Over here?
There you go. Yep.
Really?
Yes. Huh. However, small GA and occasional jet, which is great fun to see, land on 3-3, which requires a turning final over one of the ski mountains and what some might call the legendary opposing finals, the next step up from the mythical opposing bases. As someone whose job in the NASA is to squash big bugs, I think this is great fun. We have different definitions of what fun is, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
But the second time I flew this approach with a local instructor, I was faced head on with a global slowly making a turn off the runway into Alpha 6. So he's landing runway 15. He's turning left while you're approaching on final 4. You're going to have to zoom out because your notes are all still on the screen.
No, I'm trying to find something else here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I stopped paying attention because I'm so turned around on this picture.
Yeah.
I can't, and I guess it doesn't really matter.
You're looking like a 150 heading from there. You're just parallel on the runway in the picture on the left.
From up here.
Yep. Yes.
Huh. Okay.
All right. So he's describing a scenario where he actually lands in the direction to the northeast on 3-3 while an airplane is exiting after landing on 15. So the first question, how would timing like this, he missed the funniest part of this so far.
I'm sorry.
I might he calls it the opposing finals, the next step up from the mythical opposing bases. All right.
Okay.
So the global's turning off at Alpha 6. How would the timing for this be coordinated by the tower, or is this one of those things where we say must go faster? We haven't said that in forever. I have to find that button.
Must go faster. Must go faster.
I found it.
Okay.
Let's start off that way. We're going to ease into this because I found out other things about this airport and with some of these questions that we're going to talk about today. So if you just cleared an airplane to land on 15 and there's another one on final for 3-3, this goes against a lot of what we are allowed to do at most airports right now. You would have had opposite direction. There would have been a cutoff point. We'll briefly touch on that, but
it sort of depends locally what the procedure is. We have a 10-mile cutoff, so aircraft landing must be landed. I'm going to butcher the rule here. It's either, touchdown over the threshold or clear of the runway. I don't think it's that. Clear of the runway.
It's not clear of the runway.
Is not necessary, no. But they must be doing one of those things before aircraft B is 10 miles. It's a 10-mile cutoff.
Right. So in this case, if you're on short final and you're watching them turn off of the opposite direction runway, they have different rules up there.
Or, yeah, right. Either their rules are different or they just
blatantly ignoring them.
Have to do something else to make it work. I don't know.
Now, there's a letter. We're going to talk about it. On departure out of this airport, they use the RAP maneuver, procedure for flying off of runway 33. They turn slightly to the right, heading 343, and are given a 273 heading, a westbound turn, after passing the inbound aircraft. How is the separation applied? Is it tower applied visual separation, or is it radar used as well? I believe this tower is a tray cab all of the time. The radar controller and the tower controller are next to each other. You can confirm that with a friend at work. I would be curious. I wish she listened. I want to know what she thinks about this episode.
All right.
I'm going to touch on I'm not going to read the whole thing, the Rich People Airport opposite direction operation letter to airmen that's out that describes how they're illegally getting away with this and the procedures that pilots need to understand when they operate at an airport that primarily lands one way and departs opposite direction. So you're coming and going from the same part of the world. Okay. The departure would take you off of the northwest runway 33, a slight turn to the right, and then you would turn to the west. You're basically climbing while you navigate between peaks of mountains. This is not to be taken lightly, these procedures here.
Yeah.
This is like serious terrain. And in a general aviation aircraft, if you're departing at an airport that's in the 7,000 to 8,000 foot range, your airplane is already suffering from high altitude sickness.
Yeah.
It can't do anything quickly, climbing very slowly. Okay. I'm going to read what the westbound in front of procedure is. If you want to scroll down and look at the pictures while I'm talking about it, it'll make more sense to you because I know I'm dumping a lot on you at one time on this. All right. One way to accomplish this is if this kind of leads into what you said. At Triad, there's a 10-mile cutoff. A 10-mile cutoff would basically make this airport useless. You would have to have all your arrivals come in, and there would be a designated departure window because they wouldn't be able to have anybody on final. They would not have enough time to get out. The 10-mile cutoff would basically shut the airport down. Are we on the same page so far?
Yep.
All right. So they came out with one of their maneuvers. It's called the westbound in front of procedure. It's used when there is sufficient spacing on 1-5 final approach path to allow a runway 33 departure to depart, climb through 9,100 feet, and then make a left turn to a 273 to join a radial outbound, passing in front of the arrival. The picture you're looking at shows them kind of doing both. We're going to talk about two different maneuvers, but you're exactly. They are turning in front of an aircraft that's on about a 10-mile final in the picture we're looking at.
In theory, though, they are now above this aircraft, or they
cut in front of them.
They're just laterally separated.
Yes. I'll keep reading. I know, it makes me nervous too. The controller will issue a takeoff clearance with inbound traffic information in time for the runway 33 departure to begin the takeoff roll prior to the 1-5 arrival reaching a point 15 to 17 miles from the runway. Flight crews will promptly depart and per the departure SID, turn right to 343, then climb to 9,100 feet and execute a left turn to 273 to complete the procedure. It is essential, this letter says, that arriving aircraft remain on the runway 1-5 approach path unless otherwise instructed by ATC. Failure to comply with these procedures may result in the tower canceling the approach clearance or issuing alternate instructions to prevent the loss of separation. They've timed this out. They know this will work. If you are on a 15 to 17 mile final, Mr. Big Jet, and this airplane wants to depart, they know they have enough time to clear them for takeoff, turn right, climb to 9,100 feet, and turn in front of you. Are you on the same page right now? A little bit scared?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay. Cool. We're going to talk about the second maneuver then.
Okay.
Which maybe it'll make you feel more comfortable. The RAP procedure is used when a runway 1-5 arrival is closer to the runway. Okay, so they've penetrated that 15 to 17 mile mark. There's no way you can turn in front of them. So now we're going to turn behind them. But we're still going to launch this airplane right at them.
Hold on a minute. So we're looking at this.
Yeah, the pictures are really... That is the one. He's going to go around the 4 mile guy. Yes.
Okay.
The RAP procedure is used. Okay, I already read that. The intent is for the departure to pass the arrival to the east, then turn westbound to a 273 behind the first guy, the 4 mile guy in the picture.
Behind this guy.
Yep. And in front of
a 12 mile guy.
Yes.
Which must be 12 miles when this one tags up?
That's not clear from this because that guy would have fallen outside the 12 to 15 or the 15 to 17 miles when they said go. So we've eaten up about 5 miles in that, 3 to 5 miles. Are you still uncomfortable?
But we need 8 miles between these planes.
For this to work, this specific picture, yes.
Okay.
The arrival aircraft speed and the departure's aircraft's anticipated performance are essential factors. That line cannot be understated.
Say that again.
The arrival aircraft's speed and the departure aircraft's anticipated performance are essential factors. Once an aircraft completes the RAP procedure, it still may be executing the westbound in front of procedure. So I didn't ask you anything. My watch decided to tell me what time it was. So the picture you were looking at was a combination of two. They wrapped around the first arrival that was too close to turn in front of them, so they went behind them.
Yep.
And they go in front of number 2. Here's the answer to the question. Tower applied visual separation is utilized during this procedure requiring VMC conditions. The tower will issue a runway 33 line up and wait clearance to the departure, then issue a takeoff clearance with inbound traffic information in time for the departure to begin the takeoff roll prior to arrival reaching a 5 mile final from runway 15. So the first one that you're going to go behind, man, this is like threading the needle. We know we're going to have you turn behind them, but they can't have reached a 5 mile final when you say clear for takeoff. This has to be an art they learn in training. Flight crews will promptly comply with the lineup and wait instructions and be prepared for an immediate departure once cleared for takeoff. All right, I'll pause right there. Based on what little I know about this, I'm going to let you ask me a question.
Okay. Well, there's so many things. This is a great example of, it's just so unusual, but it's like, this is the only way that really we can accomplish this and actually move airplanes when it's halfway busy. What you should understand about this is that this would not be allowed to happen at a place where it didn't have to happen. There's no way that they would let us do this.
No.
Even if we said, well, look, they're doing it here. And they're going to say, no.
No.
No, they have to do it here. They need it. You don't need it. You could depart like a normal airport.
Right.
In the same direction as the arrivals. The part about performance, what do you think the training is like for this? For what are you telling a trainee about aircraft types? What are you going to tell them about? I know what I would tell them, but what do you think? Like they're there day one.
In order for this to work and comply with this agreement we have for this, they have to be at 9,100 feet before they can turn west. If it's a jet, it's less than 1,000 feet off the field. It's not that big of a deal. Is there a performance hit? Sure, at 8,000 feet. But if you're trying to get a Skyhawk, Skylane, I'll be careful. I don't want to upset anybody. This is a high airport.
Yeah, a fully loaded.
Let's just say props. If you're trying to get a propeller-driven aircraft to get to that altitude before they go behind and then in front of somebody else, it won't work. It probably doesn't work.
When it's warm out,
it's not going to work.
There are jets where this could be
yeah,
questionable.
Yeah, fully loaded, tons of bags, tons of skiing peoples and all their stuff. And it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're running a squeeze plane. Maybe not. Maybe there's a bunch of, maybe this buffer, this 8 mile, spacing is a pretty good buffer. But I'm telling you, if you were in the tower here and there were planes on final and you said, I'm going to put this guy in position opposite direction and clear him for takeoff when this other plane is on a 5 mile final,
I would tell you were crazy.
Yeah.
Even though you're giving him a slight right turn to wave to them as they pass.
Right.
Right. So go ahead.
This is not unlike the mistake I made on a mid one time. Now, I did opposite direction on parallel runways. These planes aren't sharing the same piece of pavement, but we're still not allowed to do that. Well, my timing sucked. My timing to meet the 10-mile cutoff, which was completely blown up by the departing aircraft. Thank you. Thank you, Heavy 767, who I cannot tell to expedite.
I feel what's happening. I get it.
Yeah. Anyway.
You needed them airborne before the other one got within 10 miles.
While they were rotating, I said, I need an immediate left turn. You have to turn. So I sort of made this procedure.
You did a southbound in front of? Okay.
The arrival's like, hey, we got that guy inside if it helps. I'm like, I wish it did.
Tell me that in a couple miles, please.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that answers the first question. It's tower applied visual separation, and we need great weather. This only works if they can see you.
Newsflash. You can't do this with a helicopter anymore.
We're going to talk about that on the second episode.
Oh, good. Okay.
Aren't you excited?
Yes.
All right, number 3, the Rich People Airport is a Class Delta and has a TRACON. However, there is no Tersa ring, just call-outs on the sectional to contact approach. Is there a major difference between this setup and a Tersa? I have not always been handed off to departure after takeoff, but otherwise it seems to operate like I would expect from a Class Charlie, which hopefully it will become at some point, or a Tersa. It probably won't become a Tersa. I cannot imagine it becoming a Charlie. It is unusual to have a radar facility associated with a Delta. It's probably not the norm. Is that fair to say? But it's also not normal to have a tray cab operation all the time. I don't think they have a TRACON. So these two controllers are literally next to each other.
That is an important piece of this.
Yes, and they are coordinating this fancy wrap wabifo maneuver, you guys call it. I don't know what their shorthand is. You're doing it together. This isn't blind. You're not getting on the phone saying, hey, I'm about to do this again. They're sitting right next to them.
Yeah.
Here's
what I'm going to do right now live. I am going to take a screenshot of this and send it to this controller.
Oh, good.
And say, please
tell me more.
Tell me what is happening here.
Do you get some sort of extra time at work to deal with the psychological impact this procedure may have on you?
Yeah. If you didn't know any different, I guess you're just like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. But if you'd worked anywhere else for any amount of time, when you come in, you're like, what are you guys doing? This is the plan? They obviously have it down to a science. I mean,
perfect. This is a great segue for number 5. If you were placed into this airport, what would your initial reaction be, AG? We're in an apocalypse. This is where all the planes have to go, and you and I are the only controllers left in the world. And this is how we have to do it. What's your initial reaction?
Oh, man. So if that's the case, my tolerance for running what would be questionable operations is way higher than most people.
Okay.
I feel like. I don't know. In the apocalypse, and we're it. Oh, yeah. I'm crushing this every day. I got no problem. But in a normal world where this is like, what? You just have to try to get in the mindset. Look, I have a 10-mile cutoff to where I can't even be. They've taken that in half. And not only is it immediate divergence away from, but now we're turning back through the final on an aircraft that may or may not be through the altitude of the next plane.
Terrible.
There is zero opportunity here to not pay attention to this. You cannot not be watching this. You're building in a thing that is not it's like you would be box wanting the trainee every single time they did this. How are you ensuring that? Well, I'm watching it. That doesn't seem like my favorite form of separation. But you're stuck because you're in this valley. This 343 is basically paralleling this ridge line, right? You can't go any more right. And 9100, I don't know what, I guess that accomplishes some separation with that first arrival.
And places them above the immediate threat to the west, I believe. I'd have to do some analysis, but
yeah,
it gives them a little more buffer above terrain to climb between peaks.
Yeah. If I just showed up at this place, not having none of this discussion, and I didn't know anything, and I just was monitoring, and they started doing this, I'm like, whoa.
What? Whoa. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
The second they said line up and runway 33, line up and wait.
Traffic. Citation. 5-mile final.
Opposite direction? I'm like, can you do that? That would be my question.
Let's talk about that part real quick. If the cutoff to say clear for takeoff was 5-mile final for a jet, let's just say doing 120 to 130 knots over the ground. That 5 miles on a 1.5 mile runway gets eaten up pretty quick. You got to start moving down the runway. You're going slow. They're eating up airspace pretty quickly at that speed. By the time you rotate, that airplane is conceivably inside of a 2-mile final. So the time, now we're shrinking. We're going opposite direction now, literally. So it's not going to be too long before you can climb behind them, provided you can get to that 9,100 feet. What is your out if it doesn't work? If now this number 2 that you're trying to go in front of is too close, what's your out? Well, how do you maneuver your way out of this safely and not kill an airplane aiming them into a mountain?
Yeah, that is a really good question. You don't have a lot of time to affect altitude, and you can't descend. You certainly can't descend this departure. You need to get them to the MVA, which is probably 96, maybe 10. I don't know. Oh, and no, in mountainous now we're getting to.
Yeah, they're on a SID that has climb requirements, so
10.6 maybe.
Yeah, at least
10.6 for the MVA. Man, what is the out? I don't know what the terrain and MVA looks like if they just keep going on that 343, but we're talking about tower applied visual here. How far can we extend that out realistically? If these two planes are gonna get close about 6 miles, maybe 5 or 6 miles is where. Is that really close enough to be like affecting visual separation? I don't know.
That's another great question. You want the controller to see 5 miles away And they can see the radar screen. I think that's an important addition to
that
this.
That is important.
They are probably staring at their own, but the radar controller is right there. They have a very good idea of what's happening in the radar world. My first reaction up there, I'd be scared at first. And then if I saw it happen at work a few times and understood the cutoffs and the timing, I'm sure you'd get used to it pretty quick.
Yeah.
But this shouldn't. If this is where you started your ATC life, do not introduce this to other controllers casually.
No.
This doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
Until we talk about it and get through some big questions.
I think we might be scaring people here. Wait. Okay. Don't. The reason it's scaring us is because this is so unusual for normal places where this doesn't have to happen. Places that aren't surrounded by giant 14,000-foot mountains.
Right.
We don't have giant mountains.
Mm-mm.
There's a water tower over there and like some antennas way south of the airport that a 152 on a 95-degree day can outclimb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have zero need to try to do something like this, but this would be so foreign and so weird feeling. Yeah. I mean, we feel weird about running a squeeze play with a crossing runway that isn't pointed at the arrival. You're just pointing a plane at the arrival.
That's the part that strikes me as the most uncomfortable. It'd be one thing, like you said, if we're perpendicular, but you're literally making me aim them right at them. For at least a split second, they're aimed head on. And the turn doesn't seem super extreme. It's only like 15 degrees.
Right.
So I'm not in love with this. This would take some getting used to.
Yeah, on the pilot side of this, you better know what's going on here. You better understand that this is what's happening and that it is incumbent on you to, one, make an immediate turn away from the final, and that your climb rate needs to be as good as it possibly can so that you could start this left turn as soon as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you go behind this arrival, you're set up. See, that's why this turn can't be super far.
Mm-mm.
Or you're too far away from final. It has to keep close. My guess is that by the time they get to where they can turn, 1,000 at 15 degrees, you're a half a mile that you've got to make up now coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Your speed at climbing a half a mile, this arrival is covering probably to double that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
we'll close with this. Once airborne, the crews can expect the following. You're airborne now. You just took off. Hopefully you've read this letter before you dove into this.
You have to have read this.
Fly heading 343, vector for traffic. Expect to resume the departure. When clear of the traffic, you can expect to hear turn left heading 273, resume the lens departure. This maneuver will occur prior to the departure reaching a point 3 miles north of the runway. Departure end, approximately 9.4 miles DME off the VOR. Flight crews that do not receive a 273 heading prior to that point should query ATC. All right, so if you're trucking out and ATC fell and hit their head, you need to turn westbound or say something because you're probably aimed at something that will kill you. A mountain. Must turn.
Yeah. Right.
Must turn. I would like to believe that it says something on the ATIS, like you must have read this procedure before coming to this airport, because if I'm the pilot and you told me to go into position and gave me traffic on a 5-mile final, my reaction's going to be, wait, what?
Yeah. If you hadn't read this and you got into this and didn't say something, what are you doing? You're not paying attention one way or the other.
Right.
Because if you don't know about this procedure and this doesn't surprise you or shock you a little bit, like, okay, well, are you going to launch us or you're just telling us that this plane is going to land? Like, and then we're going to depart? Like, I'm not really sure what you want us to do here.
I said I would close with that. I want to close by asking you a question. Mike Hotel, you've worked with her for years.
Yeah.
She did time at this airport.
Did time. Yep.
Do you think that has, can you correlate having done this with the way she works traffic now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She has a much, how do I say this?
Higher pain tolerance?
Yes. She works traffic in the pattern much differently than most people do. She in a good way. In a good way. She knows how to run a squeeze play. She's very comfortable with running tight pattern work and manipulating planes into places that they need to be, little tricks and stuff that I'm sure is born out of working at places like this and the other place that she worked.
Yeah, a VFR Arizona training facility that she saw more airplanes in a week than we see in probably a month.
Oh, yeah.
So I enjoyed watching you learn about this during the show.
Yeah, this was fantastic. I really like this discussion. She hasn't responded yet. But
maybe we'll follow up with that.
Yeah, in the next episode.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Thank you, Lima Delta. Feedback time.
Feedback.
We're going to do 1 and 3. I don't know when we're going to do 2 because we're running against the clock here. I'll get number 1.
Okay.
From Emperor Captain Alpha Mike, greetings, noble emissaries of cooperative and efficient operations within the NAS. Greetings. I recently took one of my former instructor's current pre-solo students for a flight so we could celebrate International Women's Day and to show her some of the more practical side of flying. I planned our flight to make it include aspects of flying that most private students get little or even no exposure to, such as flight following, operations in and out of Class Charlie airports, taxiing on complex airport layouts using FBO services, and of course, the popular $100 hamburger run. Mm-hmm. The first leg of the trip was from our home drone, the Teterboro Imposter Airport. I've been known to call it that before. My apologies. To the Badger State capital, Charlie, to have breakfast at the restaurant. Upon departing our home airport, we contacted Brew City Approach to initiate flight following, and all went very uneventfully, just as expected. I did make a quick lesson of how to properly order the information in flight following request, as proclaimed by the gospel of opposing bases. After breakfast, we departed Badger State Capital and Brew City Charlie while en route and still on with Badger City at Capital Approach. They asked if we'd like to hand off to Brew City. All our odd requests, I thought to myself, of course we would, since that's where we're going.
That is a weird question.
I replied in the affirmative, and a few minutes later, we were instructed to contact Brew City Approach. That is weird. Upon checking in with Brew City, I mentioned that we would like a full-stop taxi back. They confirmed and told us to expect 25 right. A few minutes later, Approach called back and asked, after your taxi back, will you be returning to the Teterboro Imposter Airport? Not catching it at first, I simply replied, affirmative. Only after unkeying did it hit me. How did they know where we started from? I had now been a couple of hours since we first departed. We had been on the ground for quite a while at the airport, and this did not sound at all like the same controller we spoke to for flight following. So this got me to wondering, at Triad, are there aircraft that fly out of satellite airports who you would talk to frequently enough that you recognize them by tail number, even if they don't typically land at the Triad? I do find myself talking to that Brew City quite often. However, if my aircraft is so recognizable to Brew City Tracon, should I be concerned that I've somehow become infamous in this facility? Well, I'll answer that, yes. Sure.
You should be concerned.
You also fly helicopters, so they already know there's something going on up here.
Yes. They're aware of just some slight offness.
I mean, I truly doubt my soothing, sultry tone on the radios that made me so memorable, but maybe? Or should I simply dismiss this as a controller who clearly has higher order psychic abilities and just be sure to watch what I say off mic, knowing that they can still sense what I'm saying? I appreciate you sharing based on your perspectives and perhaps having a little fun speculating on how they have such strong memory for my aircraft. Sincerely, your loyal citizen in the NAS, Alpha Mike. How would they know this? Have you ever looked up like a flight aware of an airplane that came in? Because surely you wouldn't recognize somebody from that.
Like you could just do a full route, a flight request
for.
Yep, and that would show you.
They just left. They haven't put them in the system.
Okay, hold on a minute.
They're saying, are you going back to this airport? Like they were in between. They were in the middle airports.
Okay.
So let's say
they came from airport A. They went to airport B.
Yep.
When they get to B approach, B approach says, expect 25 right for your full stop taxi back.
Yeah.
And then will you be returning to this to airport A?
Somewhere they had breakfast in here and it was a different controller. Like there was a break.
Okay. So you're saying there's a third airport? Did I miss?
I think that's what happened. There's an in-between airport. Okay. So they weren't.
Oh, after breakfast. Hold on.
Right. Were you not paying attention?
Yeah, it's possible. Taxi the first. Well, I guess I just got it in my head. That there were only two airports. So Teterboro and Poster. On the first leg of the trip was from our home to Teterboro and Poster to the Badger State Charlie to have breakfast. Okay. Upon departing our home airport, we contacted Bruce City Approach to initiate flight following uneventfully. Okay. Just recap it for me. Just recap it. Tell me what happened.
They left. They talked to an approach.
Yep.
They had breakfast. On the way back, there could have been another airport in there. I'm not going to reread it. But a new controller, hours later, asked if they were going back to their home airport. That wasn't communicated in their initial interaction with them. How do they know?
They may have seen the flight strip from before.
That could have been.
The speculation here that they know the call sign is very possible.
All right.
Alpha Mike flies around enough that controllers are very good at picking up on patterns.
All right.
And for example, planes that fly out of the club at Taco Truck, I know a couple of those call signs.
Okay.
If one of those came off of one of my satellites, me saying, "Are you headed back to Taco Truck?" would not be completely, totally unreasonable.
I'll buy that.
You know, I have an estimated 6,000 hours of sitting in radar. You start to pick stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Planes don't move around a ton in terms of where they live. Like yesterday, a voice that we recognize came off in a plane that is I have never associated that voice with that plane.
All right.
We said, "Did you get a new plane? This is a high wing. Your flight school flies exclusively Cherokees." Now, there was confusion about the question we were asking, but the point is, we see that stuff. We pay attention. We have a list in the tower of where people park.
All right.
At least we used to. Some psychopath on the mid probably threw it away. Totally out of their mind.
It's possible. So, okay, that's plausible then. They recognize the voice, the plane. That's good. That's a good enough answer.
Yeah, I think so. I think The voice too. Yeah, for sure. The voice, because I recognize voices from Co-Factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, off mic, for confusing the both of us.
Yeah, I just totally got lost in that.
We're not psychic. We're not psychic.
Names.
We just have good memories.
Yes.
You get number 3.
Number 3 from Emperor Captain Juliet Sarah. Hello, RHNAG. I just want to try to get the feel of this before I get into it. I will pay attention to this one. First off, I just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed the podcast. It has significantly improved both my IFR knowledge and my radio skills. I only discovered the show about a year ago, and once I did, I decided to go all the way back to the beginning and start listening from episode 1. Well, I'm sorry. My original strategy was to listen at night when I couldn't fall asleep. Unfortunately, the result was that I would fall asleep almost immediately once the podcast started playing, while the player continued running all night the next morning. I had no idea where I had left off, so my organized listening plan turned into more of a randomized shuffle through the archive. Yeah. As a side note, during that time, I started having listen, due to problems like this, you guys have exhausted our therapy resource. Yes. And it is no longer available. We can't be held responsible. I started having recurring dreams, possibly nightmares, about Chewbacca flying a starship into an airport in North Carolina, forgetting to ask for flight following. This can't be real. And then being chased down the runway by a police car with its siren blaring while someone in the back seat played trumpets. I assume that's oh, wow. I assume that's a normal side effect of late night aviation podcast.
Probably normal.
Totally normal. Don't worry about it. If in the next 6 months you have an overwhelming desire to fly helicopters, seek help. Okay. Eventually, I restarted the whole process using a different podcast player during the day while driving or traveling. Since restarting in September, I'm now up to episode 200. I even listen at 1x speed, although sometimes AG sound like he might naturally operate closer to 0.75 speed. That is true. I do. I have had people say on clearance delivery, pilots say after I read the clearance, they're like, hey, I appreciate you doing that nice and slow for us.
You're like, wait.
That was full
Thank
speed.
you.
That was full speed. I actually felt like I was kind of going fast. Anyway, last weekend I was flying and picked up flight following from Navy Growler approach north of the Coffee Bravo. A Mooney keyed up. Approach Mooney 123, request flight following Tulip Airport. About 5 seconds later, he keyed up again. Approach, how do you hear? 5 seconds later, approach, radio check. It took everything I had to key up and say, patience, grasshopper. Approach heard you, but is busy and we'll get back to you. But you didn't say that. You didn't say that.
It took everything I had not to key
Not
up.
to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you would have. Well, let me get to what I really wanted to say. I wanted to keep this short so AJ would even read this, but I guess I have failed by this point. Sorry, AJ. You probably even picked even, and this was an even number.
Mm-hmm.
I was assigned this feedback, I believe, against my will. Summary.
I took some of this story and shortened it.
Okay. All right. So, in summary, parts that I haven't read. Juliet's hair experienced repeated total GPS failures across all onboard and portable devices, eventually tracing it to a faulty antenna. So, every time I say that word, someone gets upset. I'm trying to get better.
I rather appreciate the normal pronunciation coming from AJ, but go ahead.
Antenna.
Mm-hmm.
whose internal amplifier began oscillating and effectively jammed every GPS receiver in the aircraft. The practical takeaway is that a failed GPS antenna can act like a local jammer, and isolating the problem in flight is as simple as powering down units one at a time to identify the source. Huh.
If there's anybody that's experienced with this happening in their airplane and they're not sure why their GPS is failing, this feedback came from a pilot who figured it out after a ton of trial and error, and it came down to the antenna, a failing antenna causing some sort of jamming properties. So, yeah, don't give up. Go ahead.
Okay, hopefully people can add this little penguin to their iceberg in case they ever need it someday. Unfortunately, my own iceberg seems to keep melting as the years go by. Thanks again for the great podcast, Emperor Captain Juliet Lima Sierra from the Wild West Airport north of the Coffee Bravo. Cool. Well, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
All right.
You didn't miss anything. You did really good.
Okay.
And
we just kind of shifted gears there. We told a story about call-ups, and then we went straight into GPS. And you guys just have to understand that what you're experiencing, you're experiencing the climate change inside of my head that is rapidly melting my iceberg in real time. That's just what you're seeing every day.
Great. We get to do another episode right after this, so you're going to be
even better, that one. Yeah.
All right. We do our best to respond to supporter feedback and let you know when you'll be on an upcoming show. Thank you, Juliet Sierra, for awesome feedback, and for everybody who contributed to the show for supporting the show. AG, anything before the chat and the break?
Yes. Thank you to the supporters who keep the show going, who keep it ad-free, and without whom we would not be doing this show anymore, I don't think.
Excellent.
Just, don't say that enough, probably.
Closing out episode 430 of Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk. Romeo Hotel.
And Alpha Golf. Goodbye, everyone.
Drop. Opposing Bases is a listener-supported, ad-free weekly podcast. The views expressed on the show do not reflect the opinions or official positions of the FAA or Penguin Airlines. Episodes are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace flight instruction. To get on-time access, bonus content, and full archive access, join the crew at opposingbases.supercast.com.